As the year is coming to an end, I thought it would be interesting to go back and look at the car designs that we've seen come out the last 12 months. So what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm gonna present to you the SketchMonkey 2020 Design Awards, where we're gonna walk you through my top 5 designs from this past year. Some of them might be surprises, some of them might be pretty self-explanatory. What I want you to do at the end of the video is to rank yours 1 to 5 top designs from 2020 and let me know in the comments below. With that said, let's start with number 5. Number 5 is the Lotus Avaya, and this is a special car to me, and it's powered by a 70 kilowatt hour battery pack and 4 individual motors placed at the wheels. Each motor is rated at 500 horsepower for a combined power output of 2,000 horsepower and 1,254 pound-feet of torque. The Avaya is equipped with magnesium wheels with diameters of 20 inches in the front and 21 inches in the rear, and Lotus claims that the Avaya will be able to accelerate from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds and go from 0 to 186 miles per hour in under 9 seconds with a top speed of over 200 miles per hour. So why is this on my top 5 list when it comes to design? It is there because I think it's such an incredible design, and it shows what is possible in the future for sports cars, and it also has a bunch of new aerodynamics that wouldn't be possible to make on a conventional car with an engine in the front or the middle or the rear, because you have holes in the body itself. You have tunnels that cut through the body of the car and creates these hollow rear tunnels that you see in the rear going from the side and then popping out in the rear. And it's just an example of how you can take a brand new package, which is the electronic platform, and build on top of that and have freedom to create something new. So for both designers and engineers, this electric platform is going to open up so many more opportunities to create cool things, because you're not restricted to the old conventional package where you have to make space for an engine and you have to make space for a transmission, for example. The Lotus Avaya is a glimpse into what modern sports cars will look like maybe say 5 or just 10 years from now. And on top of that, it's just a clean looking car. I love the design and the proportions of this thing, and the performance is insane to say the least. And this is just the beginning of this era of sports cars that are built on an electric platform. Number 4 is the Polestar 1, and the Polestar 1 is powered by a hybrid powertrain, so not 100% electric like the Lotus Avaya. It's using a twin turbo 2-liter inline 4-cylinder from the Volvo XC90 to power the front wheels, and in addition to that you have 2 electric motors powering the rear wheels. The total power output comes in at 600 horsepower and 737 pound-feet of torque, and 0 to 60 miles per hour takes 4.2 seconds according to Polestar. So it's not the fastest hybrid sports car out there, but what's so special to me with the Polestar 1 is the design. That's what the top 5 list is based on, is the design of these cars. The reason why the Polestar 1 is such a special design is because it looks like a concept car. It looks like they didn't make the modifications that usually gets done when you see a concept going from concept to production, and that means you can see that the wheels look like they fit like they do on a concept car, and they didn't have to shrink them down or make them sit inside of the car, and just all the tolerances on the model and the proportions itself of the Polestar 1 just have that concept feeling to it. And on top of that, it's a Swedish brand, and Swedes usually have this restrained approach to things. They're very conservative and quiet, but to me the Polestar 1 is just an elegant design, and it's not really quiet because it's such a powerful car, but at the same time it has a very elegant design and the clean surfacing all over the car, and the proportions are just beautiful on the Polestar 1. Even though the range is about, I think, 50 miles or so on pure electric drive. It's just not an electric car in the sense that you can use it every day in only electric mode because the range is so short. But for the design, I think the Polestar 1 is one of the most beautiful cars of 2020, and I really hope to see more iterations of the powertrain in the Polestar 1 and also bring the price down a little bit. It's a bit too expensive right now, but as I said, this is just the beginning for Polestar, and overall the Polestar 1, 2 and the Precept, all of them have a very classic Scandinavian, almost product design look to them, which I like and can't wait to see out on the roads. Coming in at number 3, we have the Koenigsegg Yaris. It's powered by a 2-liter Koenigsegg TFG, which stands for Tiny Friendly Giants, 3-cylinder with 2 turbochargers, putting out 600 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque from this tiny little 2-liter 3-cylinder. But on top of that, and this is where it gets crazy, we have 3 electric motors, 2 at the rear and 1 in the front, and the combined power output of this car is 1,700 horsepower and 2,581 pound-feet of torque. These numbers are just insane. And the Yaris has a claimed top speed of 400 kilometers an hour or 249 miles per hour, and 0 to 60 only takes 1.9 seconds. In electric mode, the car can attain a top speed of 186 miles per hour, and that is pure electric drive. So why did I pick the Koenigsegg Yaris as number 3 on my 2020 car design list? Well, first of all, I've been following Koenigsegg and their journey from their very first concept car in the 90s, and the Yaris, to me, it feels like a statement that Koenigsegg is now a proper car, supercar, hypercar manufacturer, because the design has grown up. You know, with the Agera and the Regera and all of these cars coming before the Yaris, I think they still had some of that kit car feel to the design. It might upset some people when I say that, but when I look at the Yaris, it looks like a complete package. You can see that the quality and the identity of Koenigsegg themselves are wrapped into this design very tightly, and it's just a fantastic package. The whole outline of, or the whole package of the Yaris, the proportions, where you have a 600 horsepower 3-cylinder in combination with 3 electric motors, and you have these massive doors that open up the entire side of the car, which gives access to both the front and the rear passengers. And still, this looks like a hypercar 2-seater with the roofline and the silhouette looking at it from the side. It's just a unique, beautiful package, and it's interesting that it comes from such a small company like Koenigsegg. I made an entire video on the Yaris, which I encourage you to go check out, because to me that's one of my best videos I ever made on the channel here. If you haven't checked it out, I'm gonna link it down below so you can go and see what I really think about the Yaris. It's an entire video on it, and why I think it is really such a special car from Koenigsegg. Coming in at number 2, we have the Ferrari Roma. Now I know this was introduced late 2019, but I'm gonna add it into this 2020 list anyway, because I think it's such an important car for Ferrari when it comes to design. It is powered by a 90-degree V8 rated at 612 horsepower and 561 pound-feet of torque. The gorgeous Ferrari Roma can reach a top speed of 199 miles per hour and sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.4 seconds. So why is the Ferrari Roma number 2 on my 2020 car design of the year list? Well, to me, it brings back what I've always thought that Ferrari is. To me, Ferrari is not supposed to be a Lamborghini, and it's not supposed to be any other brand than Ferrari. And the last couple of years, maybe say 10 to 5 years, I think Ferrari's gone more and more towards becoming more like Lamborghini when it comes to the styling of their cars. There's a lot of aerodynamic ducts and wings and stuff added to the cars that I don't think is 100% necessary on all of their cars. So bringing the Ferrari Roma, a classic front-engine GT car with beautiful sleek lines and proportions and surfacing that reminds me of the 456, the 550 Maranello, and even the Ferrari Daytona back in the day, bringing that back into Ferrari, I think it's more important than they realize, because I think we need more cars like this that doesn't scream and shout just because they're powerful. And as you can see, it still does pretty much 200 miles per hour and 0 to 60 in 3.4, which is enough, or way more than enough for the normal person out driving without having to add all these wings and spoilers onto the car. We can still have a beautiful traditional Ferrari sculpture 2-seater GT and still have these impressive numbers. So that's why the Roma is number 2 here on my list, and why I think it's such a great job by Ferrari by bringing this design language back. The elegance and the grace from the older Ferrari GTs, bringing that back into modern times, and I think it's a beautiful, gorgeous looking car and a very important car for Ferrari. Alright, coming in at number 1, the best car design of 2020, in my opinion. I'm gonna tell you why in just a second, but that is the Ford Bronco. Now, the base engine in the 2021 Ford Bronco is a 2.3 liter turbo inline 4 with only 270 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. If that isn't enough for you, you can get it in the 2.7 liter twin turbo version V6, which puts out 310 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. A little bit better than 270 horsepower, but it might not be enough if you're looking for some performance off-roading, so you might want to wait until they come out with the Raptor in a couple of years, which has been confirmed by Ford, so that's good news. We just don't know how powerful the Raptor will be. I'm not sure it's going to be a V8, but even if it's not a V8, it's definitely going to have at least, I would say, 450 horsepower or something like that is my guess. So why is the Ford Bronco number 1 on my list here? It's very interesting because this car, to me, it brings back something that's been missing for so long in the car design industry. If you look at the modern cars that they try to make retro, Chevy has done with the Trailblazer, for example. It's a typical example of this failed, putting a retro name onto a new car that looks like every other boring SUV out there, if that makes sense. So when Ford came out with the Bronco here, I think it kind of blew everybody's expectations of what they were actually going to do, and they made it even more cool than you could ever imagine it be when you first saw it in the press release. They went even more retro, and they had so much fun developing this car. If there's one car that I wish I was on the development design team of from 2020, it would be the Ford Bronco, because it looks like they had a lot of fun designing this car, and all these small design features of the cars, just a tiny little detail that brings back to the 70s. It's just the shoulder line, and the line that sticks out that follows the body line across the entire side of the car. That little crease is such a 70s vibe that we rarely see on modern cars today. And just the face of the car and the entire stance and graphics and proportions is such a retro design. It's probably one of the best modern interpretation of a classic that I've seen since the Challenger came out in 2008, I believe. This Ford Bronco, I really can't wait to see it out on the streets. The reason it's number 1 is because I feel happy for car designers when I see the Ford Bronco, because it just shows that a big manufacturer like Ford, they can still take a step back and not be so serious and relax and have fun developing cars like they did up until, I would say, 10-15 years ago, when everything started to look the same. Now Ford took this Bronco and really hammered in the Bronco identity into the new model, and they kind of let the designers implement some of the crazy ideas and take that into production even. And they took a risk doing this, but I think the response that Ford gets from the Bronco, that they got from the release of the Bronco, or the introduction of the new Bronco, it just shows that people are starving for more interesting designs such as this. This is going to be a huge win for Ford, and I think it's going to be one of the best-selling Ford models in the recent decades, without a doubt. And I can't wait to see all of these cool Broncos and the different specs and all of that out on the streets. And I really want to say congratulations to Ford for creating such a cool vehicle. And that is the TheSketchMonkey's Design Awards for 2020. I would love to hear your top 5 designs from the past 12 months, and also let me know why you pick those designs. It's fun to see a list, but it's even more interesting to read why you pick those specific 5 cars. And if you think I missed a car here that you would like to replace or don't really agree with, let me know in the comment below as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'm the Sketch Monkey. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.